And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on-air host and author, Sara DiVello, and I am so excited to welcome back to Mystery and Thriller Mavens, USA Today best-selling author Christina McDonald, here to give us the inside scoop on her latest book, What Lies in Darkness, out tomorrow. Christina, welcome back. Tell us about this book.
Thank you so much, Sarah. It's so good to be here and to see you again. And yeah, just thank you so much for having me back. So What Lies in Darkness is about a teenage girl who's in a car accident, and she wakes up from that car accident after being unconscious for a little while to find that her entire family has disappeared, which was like a childhood fear of mine, and probably a lot of children, I think. You know, you wake up and your whole family is gone. And so I just started, I don't know, it was resonating with me at a certain point, and I started thinking about it more and more, and I started writing this book. I wrote the first chapter. That was the first thing that I wrote. So I write everything kind of chronologically, and this book just spilled out. And from that came Alice, my teenager who wakes up and her family is gone, and Jess, my detective, who is investigating what happened a year later when a bloody backpack that belonged to Alice's sister shows up.
Oh, I have so many questions about the book, about the multiple points of view, about your writing process. I can't wait to talk about the Daphne du Maurier nominations. Huge congratulations. We have so much to talk about. But first, I just want to welcome Rowan because we are broadcasting live to 8 different destinations across Facebook and YouTube. So mystery and thriller friends, no matter where you are watching from, you are in the right place. It is the right time. It is Mystery Monday. And because Mondays can be murder, we're going to make them a little less painful for you and get your week off to a killer start. So no matter where you're watching from, you know how this works. Just get those questions for Christina going in the comment section, and I will get them right over to her. Let's jump right in. Yeah. Robin is joining us from Facebook. She says, hello, Sarah and Christina from hot Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Oh my God, Robin, it is so
hot. Hello, Robin.
This is not a glow. This is just sweat. I am dying.
Oh, you guys, I'm still wearing fuzzy slippers. I am freezing. It is torrential rain, and it's been so cold here in London. I can't even like.
Oh my God, we are sweating for you, right, Robin?
Yeah.
We have Randy joining us from Indiana. He says, hi, Sarah and Christina from hot and humid Indiana. Oh, Randy, brutal, right? Oh my God, we're dying. Tori's also joining us from YouTube. She says, this sounds like a great read, right, Tori? I'm so excited to talk about it with you. John is joining us from Northeast Ohio via Facebook. Hey, John, good to see you. John. We have Renee saying hi, or joining us from Facebook saying hi, Sarah and Christina, and book friends from Southeast Florida. Hi, Renee. So great to see you pop up as always. All right. The gang's all here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, let's jump into this process. Okay, so first of all, we kick off. I just want you to notice I am color coordinating with the cover. I hope that.
I love that.
Thank you for noticing. I was like, how can I make
color in the background, the trees.
Exactly. Okay, so we kick off with Alice, who, as you just said, it's Christmas Eve, the most hopeful night of the year, and Alice's worst nightmare, which we have just learned is also your worst nightmare, is about to come true. But Alice is only the first of several, including Jess Lambert, your detective, who is this is the second book in the series, and other POVs as well. Tell us about the writing process and these various points of view.
So for this book, it was really tricky. I will not lie. I think every book is kind of its own beast, right? Like, you know yourself, like you approach everything in a different way. And I'd never written a series before. So this was my first time doing that. So I really had to think of a way that I could make my character, Jess Lambert is sort of the main protagonist. And I had to really think about how I wanted her to develop, you know, because every book has to have its own character arc. It's not just about plot, it's how that character arc develops and how the trials that the character goes through. And poor Jess, she's been through so much, you know. In the last book, These Still Black Waters, she went through a lot, and she's still struggling with those ghosts to like move past them and through them. And I think that once I figured out how I wanted her to develop, it started kicking in a little bit easier. But honestly, it probably took me nearly 2 months to get started. Like I kept writing things and going, no, this isn't right. Delete, 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 and throwing it away. And then I was trying to like visually brainstorm things. And it was just really, really difficult, really tricky. But once I figured out her internal character need, it was easier to figure out that want, because I had written that first chapter where what happens with Alice, that just came to me spontaneously. I wrote that chapter and that was it. That was all I had. And then I had to somehow connect Jess, my detective, to that. And so that was, and knowing it was part of a series, that was all just quite a struggle. But then after that, once I kind of started connecting them and just got out of my head a bit, I think, I don't know if you do the same, but I get kind of up in my head and I'm like, can't do this. I don't know how to do this. But once you just ease into it and I just start writing, it becomes like home to me. And those characters, I get to know them again. So it was a bit all over the place for this book, but I got there in the end.
Yay, you got there in the end, indeed. And Robin wants to know, is this Detective Jess from These Still Black Waters?
It is, yeah. So it's a complete standalone. It can be read as a standalone, but it is still Detective Jess, and she is solving a new mystery. Yeah.
Yay. Renee is saying it is nice of me to color coordinate. Thank you for noticing, Renee. Yes, this is the level of service that I provide. Thank you. Robin is saying she is so glad that it is the same Detective Jess. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So how was it? Because this is your first series, right? Because you were on, so how was it to write a series where you're both have the opportunity, and for me it would be intimidating to both develop Detective Jess, but also, as you said, you've got to bring the readers who have been with you, like Robin since book one, but also making it able to be a standalone. How was that?
So that was really tricky. And I think my first draft, I did it wrong. Most first drafts are pretty wrong anyways, but I kind of focus more on the character development right up front. Whereas I think in a series, what I learned is you need to start with the plot first and start with the action and really, delve into that first to get the reader hooked, and then kind of move into the character development. And as you're moving into the character development, then also kind of start hinting at some things to come. And through that, I did drop a few different little hints about things that had happened in the past book, but unless you read it, you wouldn't know it. It really does not play out in any way. And that's something I just did innately just from reading, that I thought, well, if somebody hasn't read it, they're not going to know what's going on. So I'm not going to really add too much to it. But the thing that was really, the thing you really have to bring into the second book is your character ghost. What is that thing that is literally or metaphorically haunting your character, that is driving them and helping them or not helping them in the decisions that they make? And so once I started really bringing that stuff into the book, then it got a lot easier to write.
Renee wants to know, how many books do you plan on having in the series? Yeah. Okay. So we're 2 books in. Are we talking K Scarpetta 36 books? Are we talking 3 books? What are we thinking?
I don't know. I don't think that in my experience that publishers really ever do that many in a series, maybe a few, but it depends on so many things. It depends on if my publisher wants to keep publishing them. It depends on if I still keep having that really strong connection with Jess, my detective, and if most importantly, if I'm still connecting with my reader, and if my reader still really wants to hear the stories that I have to tell about Jess specifically, or if I should move on. So that's why I tried. I wrote a prequel novella as well, taking Jess back to when she was very young. So I have a prequel novella, and that's set before These Still Black Waters, and then I have These Still Black Waters, and then I have What Lies in Darkness. So they're all up there. So now I have 3 in the series, and we'll see. We'll just have to see, where it goes. And I think in writing, it's probably never a good idea to have too many set plans. So I never really would say, no, I won't do it, or yes, I will do it. It will depend very much on readers and if I continue connecting with them.
Yay. Renee is mentioning that in your writing process, you were talking about a couple months to figure it out. She would like to know, does that mean 2 months to start for the first book or the second book?
So for the second book, the first book, These Still Black Waters, came to me very, very quickly. It was kind of like at the end of the pandemic, we were all still in lockdown, and I was just like writing to kind of release my creativity. And so I wasn't really even writing to be published. I was out of contract at the time, and I was just kind of just writing anything. And because there was no pressure, right? It just flowed really easily. It just came out of me like so great. And it only took me maybe 3 or 4 months to write that first draft. Whereas the second book, What Lies in Darkness, it took me a lot longer to start it. Once I got writing, it didn't take me that long, but it took a lot longer to start it. And yeah, it was a bit trickier.
So once you were finishing that draft, Robin saying, what is that author that coined the phrase shitty first draft? I think it was Anne Lamott, right? Give yourself permission to write.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to write something. Just, I think of it as like an ice sculpture, like it's a chunk of ice, and then you just kind of chisel away at it until it's exactly what you want, that exact statue or sculpture that you want. And for me, that's what it is, because I don't plot. I just write. And it means that I end up going back and I edit, and then I go forward, and then I go back 2 steps, and then I go forward, and it's just so messy. I do not recommend it for anybody, but it's just the way my creativity works. I need to get that first draft out of me so that I know my characters, and then I can go, oh, this is what they would actually do in this situation, and then I can torture them a little bit more.
Exactly. Christina's in the torturing business. Exactly. Renee wants to know, is this novel scarier than These Still Black Waters?
That's a good question. I would say there are definitely some creepy moments. I'd say it's equal. It's on par. There's some creepy moments. It's not gory or anything. I mean, there are some, it's a thriller novel, so there are some bits. There's a body in a suitcase that's a bit, grim. But I would say it's kind of on par with that. It has that kind of creepy, atmospheric edge to it. Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that for me, I personally do not like gore. I actually had to just stop reading a book that made me nauseous in one of the parts. Yeah. I was like, ugh. But for me, the scariest things are not gore. It's the anticipatory fear that something bad is going to happen. So for me, Renee, reading this book from the very first chapter, I had a fearful feeling because you know that something bad is going to happen. And I think we all have that fear, right? Of like when things are going good and when you feel happy, like, oh God, now something bad is going to happen. And that is the feeling that Alice has. And then, something bad does happen. Her car crash and her family disappears, and they, and every part of that and I thought you did this really well, Christina, where you're heralding and hinting at where, the mom's like, oh, let's not take this road. And the dad's like, it's fine. Stay here. No, Alice has a sore throat. We have to go home, and you're like, no, just turn the car around.
It's clearly not going to be fine.
It's clearly not going to be fine because we're in the pages of a Christina McDonald novel, but also like that's a fear that we all have, right? That something terrible is going to happen. And so for me, Renee, this was scary because that's what's scary to me. Let me know what you think in the comments. Rob is saying, I hope Detective Jess keeps speaking to you. I think she has much to tell you. Do you feel like she does? First of all, what a lovely comment.
I'd love to keep writing about her and writing with her. I think she's such a strong character, and she's so contradictory in some ways, and I love that about her. She's very, very fragile and vulnerable, but she's also kind of a badass, and she has a bit of an attitude. And I would love to just get a glass of wine with her. She'd probably have a pint, but I'd have a glass of wine, and I'd love to, you know what I mean? Like, I like creating characters that I feel are real, that I could see them walking down the street, and I really feel that about Jess Lambert, that she's a real person in my head, and she's so strong but vulnerable, and I would love to keep writing with her.
Let's talk about what USA Today bestselling author Deborah Webb has to say about Jess Lambert. She says, Jess Lambert is my new favorite detective. Christina McDonald's What Lies in Darkness is a must-read. Every single character leaps off the page. This story grabbed me on page 1 and didn't let go until the last shocking, twisty page. So more praise for Detective Jess Lambert. Robin saying, yes, a body in a suitcase is grim. And yeah, when we are talking, exactly, we are talking fear factors. Robin saying, yes, the suspense. Exactly. It's that suspense, that foreboding, that terror.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think we're all relating to that. And she's not the only one that's raving. Let's take a peek what New York Times bestselling author Lisa Gardner had to say. Lisa was just on for her latest book a few months ago. And let's see what she has to say about Christina's book. I'll pop it up so we can all read it. She says this book is utterly compelling. In Detective Jess Lambert, McDonald has captured the perfect mix of gritty determination and haunted soul. So going back to what you said, Christina, Lisa really honing in on that. With twists and turns everywhere, What Lies in Darkness delivers the kind of page turner that you don't just read, but devour. I love that.
So good, isn't it? I feel really, really blessed, like genuinely humbled at the blurbs that I've gotten for this book, and just by the whole author community in general. Like everybody's so generous and amazing, like you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Renee wants to know, good question. Is Detective Jess based on anyone or several people?
Very good question. I have never written a character that is based on anyone in particular. Just came about, with these Still Black Waters. Like I said before, I was kind of writing at the end of lockdown, and I was just like feeling so lonely and isolated, as I think a lot of people were, and just like really disengaged from the world, because we literally were. And that's kind of where that character came from, is that she'd been through this really traumatic thing, and she had left all these people that she knew and loved, and she was just feeling really isolated and really by herself. And as she learns to, through her job and through what she's doing and the friends that she makes, as she learns to connect with people again, we started coming out of lockdown, and then that's where I start writing What Lies in Darkness. And so it opens her up, and I think that's been a really interesting process. But no, she's not based on anybody in particular at all. I don't think I've ever written anybody that is.
Interesting. Let's take a peek at what Alex Finley had to say. He's been on for his last couple of books as well. And he says, What Lies in Darkness is a riveting, I'm going to pop this up so we can all read it. What Lies in Darkness is a riveting story about the love of family and the devastation of loss and the secrets we keep. It has earned Christina McDonald a place in the pantheon of thriller writer greats. Change your plans for the night, because you won't be able to put this down. And what I love about that is that Alex often addresses family and loss in his books. So I always am curious what people hone in on in their reading of it. And I was like, oh my gosh, of course Alex is honing in on this, because this is what he writes about in his books. And I love that he really resonated with that as well.
And I wonder as well if the things that we read are the things that we resonate with, and therefore the things that we write to some extent. So if we're interested in it, we're going to write about it and also read about it. Like I love reading thrillers, so I write thrillers. I am fascinated by murder and why people kill and how they get to that point, and then what happens next and what they do to hide it and the secrets that they keep. And I'm fascinated with that in real life and in TV and books, and I also write about it. So I think, that's really true. Really interesting that Alex honed in on that.
Deanne is joining us from Facebook saying, hello, friend.
Hi,
we have a lot of chat going on about the suitcase, the grim suitcase happening here in the chat. I'm reading all of your comments. And Renee is wondering, okay, just how big is that suitcase? What size is the suitcase?
Well, I can't give you exact measurements, but it's big enough to have a body that's kind of curled up, like.
So carry-on or checked piece?
No, like a checked piece. Yeah, it's quite big, and it's a hardback too. So the fluids are kept inside.
Robin saying maybe it's the little vintage train cases, a little attaché.
I don't know. It's not body parts. So nobody gets chopped up.
Christina has boundaries, you guys. Christina has boundaries.
I have murder morals.
Listen, she'll put a body in a suitcase, but she won't chop it up. Okay, she has standards.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, y'all, I want to remind you, the book is not even out yet. It is 3 p.m. here on the East Coast, 2 p.m. in Central, and it is 8 p.m. where Christina is joining us live from London, and she is hopping on to give us the exclusive inside sneak peek and take all of our most pressing questions the night before the book comes out, as we always do and have been doing for 4 fabulous years. So here is the link to pre-order the book. Whether you're watching with us on Facebook or YouTube, click and pre-order your copy from our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore. That is, of course, Murder by the Book, which is currently being pummeled by Hurricane Beryl.
Oh, yes.
It is closed because they're just getting pummeled by Beryl.
Yeah.
So
be safe.
we are supporting them from afar. So here's that link to pre-order and get your mitts on the What Lies in Darkness and What Happens in That Suitcase. Deanne is saying they had it coming, whoever is in the suitcase. I think we can agree. Oh my God, these comments about the suitcase are driving me crazy. Yeah, that's right. She has boundaries, Robin, no chopped up bodies. Deanne saying it was a masterpiece, as are all of your books. I need more Jess Lambert.
Thank you, Deanne.
Renee saying, Christina, happy early pub day. And how will you be celebrating?
Well, probably a glass of wine with my husband after the kids go to bed. It's very sedate these days. You know, I have kids, so it's like, but yeah, lots of time on social media, lots of time just thanking my readers and my friends, and the support that I receive when I release a book has always kind of really staggered me. You know, I don't expect it, and I'm surprised by it, and it just always blows me away. So I like to spend, you know, good amount of time just making sure I reply to every person and just saying thank you.
Oh, that's so lovely. Now, Christina, when you were on before, you shared that your writing process, which I have remembered and think about often,
I know what you're gonna
includes putting on wall shaking loud club music where you are just like
it's true. That's what I do.
To the rhythm of life and typing as fast as your little musically inspired hands will fly. Is this still happening? Is this still your process?
This is how I write, because the music gets into my body, and then I'm like, and then but I can't listen to music that has words. I can't have any lyrics, because then I start typing the words and they go into my story. So none of that. So that's why it has to be like Tiesto or Armin van Buuren, any of those like raver clubber guys. Yeah.
Wow. So you are doing that music. So that is still happening. The kids go off to school and you start jamming.
Yeah. Kids go off to school. I jam for a few hours. I go to the gym. I come back and jam for a few more hours, and then I go get the kids from school. That's my day.
Oh my God. And I just picture you in there, you know, with the club music pounding. Your neighbors, what is she getting up to?
Yeah, they know about me. They're like, oh, there's Christina. She's just rave writing again.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I feel like we can all hear that. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, so many other members of the writing community have chimed in with wonderful words of praise. E.G. Scott has been on with their books, saying richly drawn characters, striking imagery. Christina delivers a taut, thick with atmosphere puzzler that doubles as a meditation on resilience in the face of trauma and the exploration of the sacrifices we make for those we love. Don't miss it. And others are raving as well. Here's one from Marcy McCreary, who says, eerie and evocative Christina McDonald's genre-bending police procedural paranormal mystery masterfully and beautifully explores grief, loss, longing, and healing. Marcy's coming in August when her next book is out, so stay tuned for that. We have so many other rave reviews from Geneva Rose, who says, shocking, atmospheric, and tense. What Lies in Darkness is an emotionally powerful and twisty page turner with rich prose and multifaceted characters. McDonald has expertly crafted a genre-bending supernatural thriller. I'm putting all of the blurbs in the comments so that we can all read them at our leisure, because I want to leave time to talk about this Daphne du Maurier nomination. Christina, tell us everything. Set the tone. Were you just, oh my God, I'm nominated. Like, bring us into the moment.
Well, it was really weird, actually. I got an email from it was in the evening, and I was just there watching Dexter, as you do, about murder. And I got an email on my phone, and I don't usually check my phone in the evening, but it was from my editor. So I checked, and she said, Christina, do you mind us passing your details along? And I was like, what, to who? So I scrolled down, and saw that they wanted to know if they could pass my details along to the award coordinators. I was like, yes, pass my details along, obviously. And that's how I found out. So it was just like kind of a random in the evening, got a bizarre email, and yeah, I was extremely excited.
And did you, I mean, adrenaline would be flowing. I would not personally not be able to get to sleep anytime soon after that.
No, actually, no, I didn't. I went to bed really late that night. I was like texting everybody to tell them. And I think the Night Olivia Fell got nominated for a few awards, but didn't win anything. So this one's now been nominated for 3 awards. So I'm crossing my fingers and toes and hoping that it wins. And we'll see. I mean, maybe it won't win anything either, but it's just such an honor, I think, to be nominated, to have a book that's nominated for 3 awards. My God, like it's just really amazing.
It's so amazing. Renee saying wonderful. Robin saying watching Dexter as we do. Right, exactly.
As we do.
That dose of mayhem and murder. Exactly. Renee wants to know, have you started or finished the 3rd book of the series yet?
I have not yet. So the 3rd book, I guess you could consider the prequel novella. So I'd be working on the 4th book now. The 4th book, I have a few ideas for it, but I haven't started on it yet. I kind of moved over to writing a standalone to try to get out of the Jess world and do something different. And then I'll pop back in once I finish the standalone and get going on another Jess book. Yeah.
Thank you for the great question, and thank you for that answer. We also had rave reviews from Wendy Walker, who was on for her last 2 books, talking about how you skillfully plotted with finely tuned prose. I loved both of those points that she brought up. And she wasn't the only one raving. Samantha Downing, who's been on for her last 2 books, calls this a smart, twisty thriller that you won't soon forget. And again, I'm putting all of the blurbs in the comments so that you can read them at your leisure, because we are running out of time. Time flies when you're having fun. Sherry's joining us from Facebook saying, I love your books. Hi, Sherry. Good to see
Sherry.
you. Your
Thank
peacock
you so much.
Yay. Robin saying, congratulations, Christina. Absolutely. Randy saying congratulations.
Thank you.
Exactly. So exciting. So exciting. And I just want to remind you guys that this book is not even out yet. So you can pre-order tonight, and the good folks at Murder by the Book will ship this to you first thing tomorrow. So whether you are watching with us, we are broadcasting live to 8 different destinations across Facebook and YouTube right now. So wherever you are watching from, you can pre-order through this link. And to get your mitts on the story of Alice and how her lost family and the worst night of her life intersects with Jess Lambert. You're not going to want to miss this one. Christina, thank you so much for joining us live from London to give us the inside scoop on what lies in darkness. Y'all, thank you for tuning in the middle of your Mystery Monday. I hope your week is off to a killer start, and I'll be back this evening with more mystery, murder, and mayhem. Join me at 7 and 8 p.m. Eastern then. Christina, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Yay.